G'day, it's Walter here from FX Jake, and what I want to do is talk about money management. This is a topic that comes up quite often, and there are a lot of misconceptions about money management in regards to trading. So what I want to do is show you exactly, sort of in a graphic form, what you are doing when you are varying your bet size. Now, a lot of this comes from probabilities, and in fact, the math behind this didn't really come out in the trading world, for the masses until it was revealed that Ralph Vince was hired by Larry Williams. Larry Williams, a famous trader who I think a few times won a couple of trading contests, and he essentially hired Ralph to tell him how much should I bet on each trade, given these certain trading systems. Now, so this idea of what is the optimal bet size or risk amount if you are risking the same percentage of your account on every trade, which most traders strive to do but actually fail to do so, but most traders actually in theory strive to do this. This criteria of the optimal bet size is called the Kelly criteria. I think Ralph called it the optimal F. But basically, if you think of this, so I'll show you what these axes mean. So this right here, when you're looking at this axes right here, this is basically, from down here we're risking nothing to up here we're risking everything, right? So this would be your account size. We're risking 0 of your account, or all of your account would be up here, okay? And then down here, what we're talking about is how does that relate to the Kelly criterion? Okay, so in this area right here, you're talking about, and this midpoint is the Kelly criterion. This is the optimal bet size, okay? So for some trading systems, it might be 25%. On other trading systems, it might be 45% or 50% of the account. And still others, it might be 11% if it's got a low win rate, and it depends. Essentially, it's determined by your trading system characteristics. And I'm not going to get into that right now in this video. What I want to do is just give you an overview of what you're doing when you start varying the percentage that you risk. So essentially, if you risk very little, you're in this conservative area of the curve right here. So if you think of this curve as being sort of how close am I to the optimal bet size, which is 1. And if I get to 2, I've actually doubled my optimal bet size. So let's just say, for the purposes of argument, that my optimal bet size is 25% of my account. Okay, that's going to maximize my returns. Now, the problem with that, well, there's several problems with that. If I say, okay, fine, that's my optimal risk size, so I'm going to risk 25% of my account, what that means is I have a couple of things that I've got to now contend with, even though I know that what I'm risking is the optimal size given the characteristics of my trading system. The first thing I have to contend with is my drawdowns. Most traders won't be able to sit through, a 50 or 60% drawdown. Most traders at that point will pull the plug. If you're using the optimal risk on your trading account, a lot of times, you're gonna lose a lot. It depends on the trading system, and it depends on dumb luck, to be quite honest, in terms of your spread of winners and losers. But essentially, some traders are actually going to lose 95% of their account if they trade the optimal F, the optimal risk size, which is right here in the middle of this curve. So think about that. If you had $1 million, would you be able to keep trading if you traded that all the way down to 50 grand? Likewise, if you had a $1,000 trading account, if it got down to $50, would you be able to keep trading it? So that's something that you've got to consider right there. Now, so that's why most people will end up on the other side of the curve. But most traders don't actually know where they are on the curve, and they're not even aware of this curve. Once you get beyond the optimal risk size, you're in this red zone, which is really aggressive, and it's off the cliff style trading. This means that you're essentially going to go broke. If you're closer to the optimal F, maybe that'll take a while. If you're closer down to doubling the optimal F, you're probably going to get there much quicker. But essentially, once you go off the cliff, there's no turning back. And as long as you keep your risk percentage the same, you will end up with the same result. Now, If you go beyond conservative, so conservative is usually a very small fraction of the optimal bet size, right? This means that you're not going to maximize your returns, but you're also not going to see as severe drawdowns, which, for trading is quite critical. And the reason why this is true is because most traders decide to change systems or pull the plug on systems altogether based on the drawdown, right? And the drawdown, if you think about it, it really is just due to the random spread of winners and losers. So long as you're trading a system that's has a positive expectancy, that's going to make money over the long run, if you're in a drawdown, it's just dumb luck or bad luck or a bad run or however you want to look at it. It's not anything of your doing, and there really isn't anything you can do to stop it other than to stop trading. But most traders want to take control, and they'll change the system or stop trading when they hit a drawdown. So what we're trying to do here by trading in this blue area here is we're trying to reduce the drawdowns, reduce the psychological trauma that happens when we incur these massive drawdowns, and it's basically smooth out the equity curve. Okay, now once you get into this aggressive area and get closer to the optimal bet size, you're going to see deeper swings up and down. So you'll make more money, but you'll also have deeper drawdowns. Now, most traders, when they think about this, they say, well, I'd rather just go for it and have, I want to make that $1 million over the next 3 months or whatever. Well, that's all well and good, but the problem with that obviously is, again, you have to keep trading through the drawdowns, and you can't stop trading your system. You can't change your rules midway and trade a different system, because if you're doing that, now of course you've got a different optimal risk size and so forth. So changing on the fly like that is very dangerous. But even more so, I think the more dangerous thing here is really, how do you survive these really massive drawdowns? And that's why most of the time you'll hear people talk about risking a small percentage. It usually has nothing to do with maximizing your risk or maximizing your returns. It has everything to do with minimizing the psychological trauma that you feel when you get into this, off the cliff or very aggressive trading zone. Okay, so another thing that comes up obviously is traders will trade in this blue area. They'll start to make money, and then they'll go screw it. And then they'll go into the aggressive area right here or into the red area here. And that's, of course, when they run into problems, because they've had a really good streak down here in the blue area. And then as soon as they start to take more risk, that's when they hit their negative, their drawdown and their bad luck phase. And that's usually enough to do them in. So I just want to point that out. Now, there is one more theoretical consideration here, which is essentially that here's the problem. This whole formula assumes that we have a constant, verifiable expectancy. In other words, the amount of money that we expect to make given our trading system stays the same. Now, in practice, that probably is not true. And what that means is we're kind of taking a snapshot of our trading system and saying this is how it's always going to be. So what that means is, in the real world, your trading expectancy is not constant. So that means that your optimal risk size is not constant either. And so what that means in basic terms is that you're essentially trying to catch, a falling knife or whatever. This is not something that's easy to do. And it's kind of like, taking a photo of yourself when you're 7 years old and saying, that's what I'm always going to look like. And that's what you're doing when you take this snapshot of your trading system. So it doesn't mean your trading system won't make money into the future. It just means that these statistics are going to be changing over time. And so that means for many, many reasons, beyond margin calls, the psychological trauma, and so forth, it's so much better, guys, if you can stick down here into this blue area and simply ride out those bad luck phases and those drawdowns instead of trying to push it into the aggressive and off the cliff area, because this is where people break down both psychologically and actually with their trading systems and just scrapping their trading systems and trying something different. I hope this makes sense. I wish you happy trading, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.